Good morning to all. In today's session, we're all going to learn about the operation strategy and sustainable operations. So let's begin with the definition of operation strategy. So, operation strategy is all about a set of decisions a particular organization prepares or makes regarding the production and the delivery of its goods and services. Organization may consider each and every steps towards the manufacturing process or delivering a product on a particular operations or a scale of operations, and the decisions what the organization takes regarding the operations are actually called the operation strategy. So it's all about a set of decisions that the organization takes for the production and delivery of the goods. An organizational operations strategy works, you can say, collectively with while following up or with associated with its overall business strategy, which not only helps the organization in order to achieve its long-term goals but also improve the competitiveness in the marketplace. Let's talk about the example of the operational or operation strategy. A company that produces or sells computers may have a following operations in the respective locations or the region. So the first operation would be obtaining the materials, working with the suppliers. Thirdly, designing a new computers, manufacturing the computer designs, managing the employee turnover or the employees or the delivery, the financial, you can say finished computers rather than financial to seller or consumers. So when any company has decided to produce and sell computers, mobile phones, smartphones, they must have a following operation and how they could obtain material, what sort of you can say work is to be done by the suppliers, how to design a new computers, how to manufacturing it, and how what sort of designs is to be you can say implemented, and how to manage the employee turnover, because after all there are so many operational activities and the plenty of employees turnover, then how it could be managed, how to deliver the finished product, could be computer, could be a smartphone, and to the sellers or the ultimate consumers. That is exactly the task of the organization. And when the organization prepares the decisions, a set of decisions to produce that finished products to the sellers and consumers, that are actually called operations strategy. Now we can come up to the next section, that is the benefits of having an operations strategy. The first one is the strategic benefits. It's achieve a competitive advantage. When we talk about the competitors, in order to deliver the superior products or services more efficiently or you can say cost effectively, then ultimately the effective operation strategies are actually needed, or it needed to define the company competitive positions of it. Next is aligned with business goals. It also translates the high level company strategies into an actionable day-to-day tasks, and for in order to ensure that every work or every task is to be proceed towards the achievement of the long-term goals or objectives. The next benefit is improve the resilience. It also makes the company more adaptable to a new technologies, to a new you can say innovative technologies or any changes in the market shifts, in order to build up a flexibility you can say into the processes or into a manufacturing processes or the manufacture process. So in such a way, it will be beneficial to have an operational strategy, and it's really strongly need to have an operation strategies in an organization. Next section is the operational and the financial benefits. So these are the 5 operational and financial benefits of having an operation strategy. The first one is operation strategy increase efficiency, and of course it streamline the processes, the workforce, which always leads to a faster, you can say, operations, or you can say effective operations, and that is also the one of the you can say benefit or advantage. It also reduces the cost, optimize the use of resources or minimize the waste, and lowers the operational cost. It could be done through the better planning and administration and a proper management. Next is enhance quality. It also implements the quality management practices in order to ensure the products and services to be delivered consistently to meet the customer expectations. Next is improve employee productivity. It also provides a clear directions to the workforce, which automatically helps them to work more efficiently and effectively. Next is increase profitability. By focusing the resources, which is one of the critical concern for the organization, it's important for the organization to reduce a waste, and the company which always work on the same concern in order to improve its overall profitability in order to earn any financial benefit. Next is customer and market benefits. It increases the customer satisfaction. So consistently meeting customer needs, responding to their queries, responding to their demands, it of course leads to a better customer experience and the stronger loyalty. Next one is improve scalability. It also establish you can say groundwork for the sustainable business growth by making operations into more effective and scalable to handle the increased demand. And the last one is better manage supply chain. It also optimize the supply chain management, which reduce the lead times and cost, and it could be done through the operations strategy. Now we can come up to the next section, that is the elements of an operation strategy. The first one is the capacity planning. Operation strategy always ensures that the organization has enough resources, facilities and the production capacity to meet up the current and the future demand of the customers. Supply chain management. It also optimizes the flow of material, the information, the funds from suppliers to customer. Next is process design. It also develops and optimizes the operational processes in order to ensure the efficiency, the consistency and the high quality products. Next is quality management. It also establishes and maintain the high standard quality products and services to meet up the customers' expectation and to make them satisfied in order, and hence it will build up a brand reputation. And the next is supporting elements. The first one is facilities. It's also manage the location, layout, the capabilities of production facilities, including the safety procedures and the inventory management. Next is technology. It is also strongly need to select, to implement, to adapt the new technologies in order to improve the efficiency, competitiveness and innovation. Next is workforce and people. It is very important when it take up to implement any operational strategy. It is need to hire, train and develop a skilled workforce while also fostering a culture of collaboration and accountability. Next is product and service design. It also ensures that the goods and services offered, it should be aligned with the market demand and customer needs, and accordingly it should also manage their product life cycle or their life cycle as well. The next section is the key success factors for operation strategies. The first one is goals. It is very important that every operation strategy should be aligned with the business goals or objectives. So in fact, so if any individual is you can say making operation strategy or any set of decision, it is very important for him or her to establish a goal for every operation, to give the operation direction which helps the others and for own self with the decisions regarding the operation to achieve the larger goals of the organization. Next one is employees. Most operations have employees who perform them easily, but having the right direction with the right employees can improve the quality of the finished tasks. So whenever you are analyzing or developing an operation, it is very important to look up the new employees with the relevant skills to improve their ability to do their job well. Next is innovation. Innovation can also helps the organization to find better to operate the potentially gain the you can say more and more you can say advantages than the competitors. So within every operation, it is very important to note down those areas which can innovate. So anyone or an individual should encourage the operations you can say the managers to try a new processes and accordingly to analyze the results. Next is and last one is analysis. All operations require the regular assessment, and in each assessment anyone can learn that which operations are running well and which needs improvement. So consider implementing a system for a regular analysis, and each section of your operational strategy is having the members of each operation should analyze themselves, or to establish a separate department or team to analyze all other operations as well. This is how the analysis of the operation works. The next section is the operation strategy formulation process. The operation strategy formulation process consists of defining the objectives, analyzing the external and internal environment, identify the competitive priorities, and developing a detailed action plan to align operations with overall business goals. The key steps is always being followed by the organization, that includes the market scanning, a competitive analysis, internal assessment like SWOT, setting the measurable goals, developing the strategy, allocating the resources, and establish a monitoring system. It could be MIS system as well. Next is what are the steps involved in the operation strategy formulation process. The first one is the understand the competitive dynamic at marketplace, where we call a market scanning, in other words. Identifying the order qualifying and the order winning attributes. Next, devise the overall corporate strategy. And the last one is arrive at the operation strategy. So let's have an overview of all these 4 steps. First one is the understand the competitive dynamics at marketplace. The one of the objective of the business organization is to prepare a operation strategy while scanning the marketplace and understanding its changing environment. It also helps the organization in order to understand the issues involved in the marketplace, and accordingly it will prepare the operation strategies. It involves a detailed analysis of the current market structure, whether it could be including existing competitors, what would be their offerings, and the competition intensity level. Let's take an example to understand this first process. The Tata Motors analyzed the market and identified that there is a scope for the development of an affordable car that would appeal to the customers. And accordingly, the company has developed and scanned the market trends, the marketplace, and accordingly it will appeal to many Indians who ride motorcycles. Market analysis is always leads to the company to launch the Tata Nano car with the price of 1 lakh, and accordingly, after market scanning, a detailed market analysis, what would be the competitors and what would the competition level, their offerings, and accordingly the company has launched affordable, you can say, Tata Nano car with the price of, you can say, 1 lakh rupees. The next process is to identify the order qualifying and the order winning attributes. Order qualifying attribute refers to a set of factors, a set of attributes that a customer expect in a particular product or service, and while considering all those factors in purchasing, you can say, decision. However, the major presence of all these attributes does not guarantee that the customer will buy the product or service. Let's take an example of the order qualifying attributes. Smartphone, we take an example of a smartphone. Internet and the networking features are one of the basic order qualifying attributes for the smartphone. So it does not necessary to guarantee that the customers would buy the smartphone. You would not buy a smartphone because it does not provide these features. If these features, if I want internet and net working features, and in the smartphone these features are not available, why should I buy a smartphone? And however, these features does not guarantee that a customer will buy a smartphone or will purchase the smartphone. And These basic attributes are actually called the order qualifying factors and attributes. So it is very important for the organization to identify the order qualifying attributes for implementing an operation strategy. The next concept in this particular second process is the order weaning attributes. There should be some other attributes besides the basic order qualifying attributes which have a potential to appeal the customer to buy the product and service and provide a better value for money to them. Such attributes is always motivates to the consumers to buy a product and services, and that's called order weaning attributes. So if any product that gives appeals to the customers, and all those attributes, all those factors are actually called order weaning attributes. The presence of order weaning attributes helps the customer to differentiate a product or service from the competitor offerings. Let's take an example to understand what exactly the order weaning attributes. Especially the wireless connectivity, any automobile Wi-Fi, automatic Wi-Fi, fingerprint, or any other, you can say, sensor, or the optical voice-based security, inclusive wireless charging, etc. These are called the order weaning attributes, which automatically appeal to the customers to buy a smartphone. The basic attributes of wireless internet connectivity is a basic attribute which we called the order, you can say, identifying order attributes. But order weaning, that any specific features, specific attributes that exist in the smartphone that appeal to the customer, and the customer will easily buy that smartphone. And when additional and extraordinary attribute exists in the smartphone and that appeals to the customers, that attributes are actually called the order weaning attributes. And that the two terms exist in it, that would be in the second stage of the formulation of the operation strategies, is to identify the order qualifying and the order weaning attributes. Now the next one is the third formulation process, is to devise the overall corporate strategy. Organization may not use all the strategic options available to them. It could be due to the limited availability of resources and the limitations. So it is required to match the available strategic options with the available resources or constraint. And this will help the organization to select the most appropriate strategic option. And based on the selected strategic option, the organization can easily develop the strategic plan to fulfill the organizational objectives by considering the strength and weaknesses of the organization. So it is very important to understand that while considering the appropriate strategic option from the various options available to the organization, it totally been aligned with the organization objectives and goals, in order to understand also the strength and weaknesses of the organization, whether the resources are available, whether the you can say the limitations that exist to in fulfilling the organizational objectives it is very important to find out the answers of these questions, and it could be relate to the strength and weakness of the organization, and then accordingly the organization could develop a best strategic plan to fulfill the organizational goals in the long run. The next and the last formulation process is the arrive at operational strategy. So when we identify the order winning or order winning attributes or order identifying attributes, then we come up to devise the overall strategy, and at last we come up to the reach to the prepare the operations strategy. So once the corporate strategy is developed, it is very important and it serves as a base for the operation strategy. The operation strategy may also focus, you can say, on the continuous cost improvement, productivity maximization, and the cost control by planning and control activities, and accordingly reduce the overall cost. So operation strategy, you can say, proves the way for achieving the corporate strategy, and in this way the you can say MIS, management information system support process, is always helps to process and the movement and move the information or share the information and data to make the proper decision, proper business decisions. The marketing support team is also helps to do a market research and decide a marketing plan, involves the product life cycle, product development, and all these support processes is always helps to implement an appropriate operations strategy to create a value for the organization and its customers. So this is how the support process team works for the organization, and accordingly it leads to an appropriate operations strategy which creates a value for the organization and its customers. Now we can come up to the next section, that is the perspectives on operations strategy. Perspective on operation strategies is include the four main parts. That is, the first one is the top down, which always viewed from the corporate goals, corporate mission, vision. The second one is the bottom up. It always viewed to the emergent improvements. It should be an improvement in the operations or the scale of operations of the organization or competition level, to improve the competition intensity level. The next one is the market perspective. It focused on the customer needs and satisfaction or loyalty. And the last one is the resource based perspective, which always talk about or engaged about the internal strengths. A comprehensive strategy, it often combines these viewpoints in order to ensure that operations should align with these high level business objectives and operational realities. Let's have an overview of these four aspects. The first one is top down. It always says follow the company vision. Your operations must align with your company's strategic directions, and this should not be negotiable in any way. So whatever the operations is being decided, it should align with the company mission, and that operations should follow the company strategic direction and work accordingly, which cannot be negotiable. If your company positions itself as a premium brand, your operations need to prioritize the quality over speed or cost reduction. Every operational decision should reinforce your brand promise, and accordingly the organization would work to reduce the cost and give more importance over the quality. And the various actionable or the recommendation is to be implemented. First one is to review your company's strategic objectives quarterly. Audit operational process to ensure alignment, that these strategies should align with the company mission or not. And the third one is train teams to understand that how their work supports the company mission. The next one is outside in, that start with what customers wants. It always need to understand the target market in depth and accordingly design the operations so that it deliver exactly what those customers value the most. Customer needs always you can say always been operational with the design, or another way it also target the budget conscious customers, and its efficiency and the cost reduction becomes the operational priorities. There are few recommendations to follow to come up with an operational strategy or an appropriate operational strategies: to conduct the regular customer value survey, to map the customer journey touch points to operational processes and just benchmark against the competitors serving similar customer segments. So this is how that begins with the customers, what the customers wants, and accordingly the organizations work on targeting the markets and accordingly design its operations. Next is bottom up, learn from daily work. So your frontline workers will always interact with plenty of people every day. Their insight, their problem solving approaches, their of course incremental improvements becomes a major competitive advantages for the organization. And in this way the operational excellence comes from a continuous learning, for a continuous improvement at the ground level to a top level. Small daily improvements is always leads to a significant competitive advantages and differentiation. There are few actionable measures which the organization could work to achieve the one of the perspective called bottom up. The first one is establish the regular feedback which loops from a frontline staff. Implement the suggestion systems with clear follow through, that means with clear instructions. Document and share the best practices across teams. And the last one is inside out, that means use your strengths. Identify your unique strength, resources, capabilities, abilities, and find the market where these strengths will be more suitable and leads to a competitive advantage. Don't try to compete everywhere. Compete where your strength is more appropriate to a marketplace, where your strength would be more operational and matters the most and can create a sustainable differentiation. There are few remediable measures on which the organization works on to use one of the perspective called inside out. Conduct the honest capability assessments, map strength to market opportunities and develop the specialization in high impact areas in which your strength would be more used, more suitable or more suitable in that marketplace. Now we can come up to the next section, that is the effectiveness of the operations strategy. The first one is it improved the efficiency and the cost reduction. Operation strategy streamline the processes and optimize the resource allocation, minimize the waste, which leads to a faster and a more cost effective operation. Next is it enhance the quality. Quality management practices ensures the product or services consistently meet and exceed the customer expectations. The next one is the competitive advantage. An effective strategy is always helps a company outperform competitors by aligning the operational capabilities with you can say the fairness strategies. Next is greater customer satisfaction. Efficient you can say operations which always leads to a greater or a consistent satisfaction or the services and the ability to meet the customer needs, which enhances the loyalty. Better resource management. It also helps the you can say leaders who determine that how to best allocate the finite resources like capital, technology, talent to maximize their impact. The next is clearer direction or the clear direction and alignment. Operation strategy provides a clear targets for employees and ensures that all departments' work will be coordinated towards the same overall goals. Increase scalability and the flexibility. A strong strategy always includes the mechanisms or expand the operations efficiently, and they can easily adapt the changing market situation or dynamics or the unexpected challenges. And the next is risk mitigation. It also helps to measure, to identify and of course and reduce the potential risk to ensure the business you can say continuity and resilience. The next section is the product and the service life cycle influence on performance objective. The product or the service life cycle is significantly influences the company performance objectives by shifting their strategic priorities at each stage. As the product or service moves from introduction to decline stage, the operational focus changes because the market condition and the dynamics, their sales level and the profit margins changes. Now we can come up to the stages and their influence on market performance objectives. The first stage is the introduction and development stage. This initial stage involves the high research and development process, how to conduct the marketing of their products, how to decide the marketing cost, and somehow with no revenues left within the organization, then how it could be you can say managed. Performances objectives are centered on the market entry and build up the foundation, and these are the 5 main aspects which influences the company performances. The first one is quality. High quality design and performance is a critical tools to gain an initial market acceptance. The main objective of this aspect is to offer work as promised to build up a early user satisfaction and a positive reputation. Next is flexibility. Operations, you can say, need to be highly flexible to accommodate the rapid design process or changes wherever it to be required according to the customer's feedback. Next one is dependability. It also establish a dependable core service which could be a focus on their you can say innovation, on their financial aspect, on their functionality, rather than perfecting, you can say, reliability. Next is cost. Costs are high due to the large investments in development, marketing, lack of economy of scale. The main objective is not to reduce the cost but to manage the investment to get a successful launch of its product. Next is speed. Speed to market is a key objective, that how the market could be captured by as an early adopters and establish you can say a foot you can say hold before the competitors at the marketplace. The next stage is growth stage. If the launch is successful, the sales and profits grows rapidly as the product or service gains the market acceptance by the customers. And there are few parameters or aspects which automatically influences the company performance objectives if these aspect has not been worked properly. Next, first one is the speed. Speed of delivery becomes very important to keep and increasing the demand. Next is quality. Product or service quality is also enhanced to differentiate from emerging competitors and build a brand loyalty in the marketplace. Next is dependability. Operation must become more reliable and consistent to handle the higher volume of sales and maintain the customer satisfaction. Flexibility. It is a pertinent need for the constant evaluation and the adaptation continues, but the major focus should also shift towards scaling efficiently rather than proving the concept to the customers. Next, cost. Costs per unit start to decrease due to the economies of scale, and the objective is to capitalize on this to maximize the growing profits. Next is maturity stage. Sales growth slow and eventually stabilize at the market become saturated. Competition it's at peak level under the maturity stage, and the profit margins are also start to shrink due to the pricing pressure. There are few parameters or aspects which influence the company performance objectives, and the first one is cost. A major objective is to reduce the cost and maximize the efficiency so that the organization could maintain the profitability. Next is quality. Quality remains a priority as the organizational goal is also to provide the appropriate quality product to the customers in a target market. Next is dependability. Reliability and consistent performance are also critical to build up a customer loyalty and of course fending off the competition. Speed. The focus is on efficient timely delivery rather than rapid growth. Next is flexibility. Product or service improvement and the line extension are the key objectives in order to maintain the sales and keeping the offering fresh and relevant. And the last stage is decline stage, where the sales and profits begin to fall due to the new technological advancement, changes in the customer taste or preferences, superior alternatives entering the market. So it is very important when these five aspects to understand, which ultimately influences the company performance objectives. Cost, the first one is cost. Cost reduction is the most important objective, and the companies always look up to harvest the, you can say, retaining value from the product or service. An investment in promotion and marketing should be significantly cut. Quality or dependability. The major focus is all about on quality and dependability, but ultimately in this stage both are decreases. Resources are actually pulled to invest in new, more promising offerings. Next is flexibility. A company flexibility at this stage is demonstrated by its ability to decide on the best strategy. As everything is going to fall in this particular stage, it is very important to come up with the best strategy, whether to discontinue or to continue or to liquidate or to revitalize the offering. Next is speed. The objective is to efficiently manage the wind down process and liquidate the stock, not to increase the speed. So it is very important to liquidate the stock, to wind down the process rather than to increase speed. Dependability. The objective is to manage the withdrawal of the support gracefully, minimize the disruption existing customers during the retirement process. So this is how in these four stages, these four aspects automatically influence the company performance objectives. Now we can come up with the next section, that's called a sustainable operations. Sustainable operations refers to manage a business core processes to be profitable in the long run while minimizing the negative social and environmental impacts. So it's all about to reduce the social and negative social and environmental impact. So the major focus is to manage all of the business processes and make it profitable. It could be achieved by balancing the triple bottom line, that's called people, planet and profit. That's called triple bottom line, which involves to improve efficiency, using the resources wisely and ensuring the fair labor practices. The goal of this sustainable operation is to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own demands. So it's all about the demand of the present without compromising of anything. Key components of the sustainable operation. The first one is environmental. It's all about to reduce the waste, energy consumption, emissions through the measures like using renewable energy, recycling and optimizing logistics. Next is social. It also ensures a positive impact on the people, including employees and the community. This includes promoting the workplace health and safety, diversity, employee well-being and the fair labor practices. And then last one is economic. It also focuses on the long-term financial health and growth. It does not form you can say does not harm the environment and the society. and it would require the strategic investments, gaining efficiency, you can say mitigating the risk associated with the research, with the resource volatility and the regulations. How to implement a sustainable operation? The first reason is to assess the current operation, to focus on the present operation. So conduct a thorough review process to understand where environmental and the social impacts are highest. Then set goals, then establish a clear and measurable goals for improvement. Next is track progress. Monitor the key performance indicators to measure the progress and identify those areas for further optimization. Involve all departments. It ensures that the principles of sustainability are integrated into all the functional areas from production to supply chain, so that to you can say come up with the product design and human resources. Now we can come up to the next section, that is the strategies to pursue the sustainable operations for organization. The first strategy is a triple bottom line, we call TBL. It is a business framework that measures the organizational success by its commitment to the social and the environmental issues, and that it is always be a platform to evaluate the corporate performance from a broader perspective. And the 3 P's are profit, people and planet. Profit, the traditional measure of the company, its financial health, and if the financial health is good, then easily it can give a broader perspective towards the economic, you can say economic environment issues or concern. People, the company's social impact on all its stakeholders, including employer, customer, supplier, or local community, which always been focused on a safe working environment and a fair labor practices. Next is planet. The company environment impact always focused on minimizing the ecological footprint by maintaining the energy consumption, reducing waste, or using a sustainable resources. Next is reverse logistic. It is a process to manage the flow of goods from the point of consumption back to the point of the origin to recapture value or ensure the proper disposal. It is a reverse case of the traditional supply chain. Reverse logistic can be used for 3 reasons. It's returns management, processing customer returns due to the damage, defect or dissatisfaction. So whatever the stock available could be returned. Then recycling and waste management. It is responsible to dispose the product and material that have reached to an end of the life cycle. Then remanufacturing and the refurnishment. It also repairing and restore the returned item to be resold and reused. Unsold goods management. It transport unsold stock from retailer back to manufacturers. Repairs and maintenance. It's handling products sent back from servicing or warranty work. The next is circular economy. A circular economy is an economic system which is designed to eliminate the waste and keep products, components, material in use at their highest value. Unlike the traditional linear, it's take, make, dispose model. So circular economy is totally based on the take, make, dispose model, which always focus on the redecorative and regenerative by design. It is based on the three core principles. The first one is eliminate waste and pollution, circulate the products and materials, and regenerate the nature. And the last one is the decarbonization. Decarbonization is a process of reducing or eliminating the amount of carbon dioxide and the other greenhouse gases which released into the atmosphere. The goal is to transition away from the fossil fuels to achieve a low carbon or a net zero emission economy. So there are key strategies for the decarbonization. The first one is transition to the renewable energy. So it replaces the fossil fuel based energy with sources like solar, wind and hybrid power. Next one is the improved energy efficiency. So it's all about to reducing the overall energy consumption in building, transportation and industry processes, which leads to pollution. Next is adopting circular economy practices. It reuse, recycle and remanufacture products, which helps to reduce the energy emission associated with producing new goods. Next is carbon capture technologies, capturing the carbon dioxide emissions for industrial sources and store the underground and reuse them for the other purposes as well. Next concept is sustainable supply chain. Sustainable supply chain integrates the environmental, social and economic consideration into the entire life cycle of a product, from raw material sourcing to disposal. It always aims to minimize the negative environmental impact like pollution, waste, and promote the positive social impact like fair trade, fair labor practices, while still being economically stable in India. This approach goes beyond traditional efficiency and more focused on the cost models to create a long-term value for both company and community. Key aspects of the sustainable supply chain. The first one is environmental responsibility, then social responsibility, economic viability, life cycle management and transparency, you can say cycle. So environmental responsibility is all about practices like reducing emissions, minimizing waste, etc. Social responsibilities includes ethical labor practices, promoting fair wages, maintaining good working condition, etc. Economic viability is all about economically sound to ensure the long-term health and success of the business. Life cycle management to consider the each life cycle stage of a product from material sourcing, manufacturing, transportation, storage, and even the product returns and of course end of their life cycle. Transparency, it always focus on the supply chain, which ultimately address the sustainability issues effectively. India initiatives towards circular economy. The first one is extended producer responsibility. This policy always requires the producers, the importers and the brand owners to take a responsibility for the end of life management of the products. Next initiative is a plastic waste management rules. These rules have been phased out a single use plastics and mandated a minimum thickness of the plastic carry to reduce the pollution. Right to repair. India is developing a framework to enable consumers to repair products either themselves or through the third parties. Next is National Resource Efficiency Policy, which called NREP. It always aims to create such a circularly framework for the key sectors like automobile, packaging and construction. And the last one is Vehicle Scrapping Program. So it always operational by the Niti Aayog and the Ministry of the Road Transport and Highway to you can say remove old and the you can say unfit government vehicles of waste specific rules. That always guidelines which exist to maintain the to reduce or to manage the various waste including the e-waste, construction, demolition waste and the hazardous waste. Next is mission mode schemes and program. The Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0, it focused to make the urban areas garbage free to improve a solid waste management. Then we can talk about sustainable alternative towards affordable transport. So it's promote the production and use of compressed biogas from waste. And the last one is a National Green Hydrogen Mission. It always promotes a platform to have a circular economy and work towards the sustainable development in India. That's it for today. Thank you so much for listening this lecture. I will come up to a more important and relevant topics in the upcoming session. So till time, thank you and namaste to all.